Hey, it's Gambler Keegan again, and today I am spectating my boy Flame of Flareon, or colloquially known as Father Flame. He is embracing the fun today using. Oh no! No, he's using 5 Pokemon against 6 Pokemon in OU, and his Pokemon are really suboptimal. So he led with a Dodrio, and let me see if I remember his team correctly. He has Dodrio, Kangaskhan, Raichu, Poliwrath, and I forgot the other ones, but I don't know if Dodrio was the optimal lead there, especially with the commonality of Starmie leads, as we could clearly see. So he's in a nice 5v6. Let's see if he can pull it out. I believe in him. He's a really good player. So I mean, he's good enough to be confident to be using this kind of stuff in OU. So let's see what he does. It's not too uncommon to get insta killed in OU if you're using bad teams. So you get this out firsthand, and that volume is gonna blow your eardrums out. Sorry, but I can't. I'm recording this live, and I can't fix it. So maybe I'll mute it. He went for the Thunder Wave, and Executor is going to come in for a free sleep. Really not looking good for our boy Flame over here. What is he going to sack? If I remembered more of his team, I can make a suggestion here. But let's see: Raichu, Poliwrath, Kangaskhan, and I forgot the other ones. So that's why I run Seismic Toss on my Raichu. If you guys remember my Raichu, it actually doesn't even have an electric move, just because of the opponents that you normally get in OU. So Seismic Toss for the Executor. He went ahead and sacked Raichu. Let's see where he goes from here. He's going to Articuno. Okay, gotcha. Articuno's looking at a wall on Starmie. That's not very good. Looks like Fuzzy Footrest is keeping the Snorlax in for the Articuno. Bad move on his part. Good for our boy Flame, because Articuno is going to pop off more than a third of damage on this Snorlax here, but I expect a Starmie switch in here. Now, if I were Flame, I would anticipate the Starmie right away and go to something else. Unfortunately, his Raichu is down, so yeah, there's the Starmie, and no, he keeps the Articuno in. I would have switched out on that. I mean, you're already in a bad situation. It might be better to go ahead and start taking some risks, because your opponent's really comfortable right now. So, I mean, I think that Starmie switch was really obvious. So he's going to go for the agility. Huge critical blizzard on that. Is he going to get a bail button right here? I mean, Hyper Beam right here kills the Starmie. He might get bailed out big. There it is. Huge bailout for Flame. You never know how Gen 1 is going to go. I mean, if you have it bad in the beginning, don't give up, because that RNG comes in heavy sometimes. All right, does he have rest? No, he's going to go straight for the beam and go down here. That was a smart beam, because, I don't think he was going to anticipate the beam and heal himself and then kill the Articuno. Regarding that Starmie, though, I would have predicted something and tried to get some paralysis on it. So he still has a sleep available with Poliwrath, but if that Poliwrath doesn't have Amnesia Blizzard, he's not going to be able to get past this Executor in a timely manner. Yeah, and the Executor's back in. He sees it coming, he goes Slash. He's probably going to double down on Slash, but this Doug Trio is looking at its last days. Unless he is going to predict the explosion. He does. Is he going to explode? No, he doesn't. I don't think he would explode with a Doug Trio on the field like that. I mean, it's a tough situation. It's a tough situation. I wonder if the opponent would have read correctly and just committed to Psychic anyway. But looks like he's sacking this Raichu. I mean, would I have risked the sleep powder on that? I don't know. But looks like he is putting his bets on Doug Trio right now, which is a good thing to bet on. I mean, look at so Hyper Beam kills, Mega Kick. That is an interesting move choice. I don't know if Hyper Beam killed right there. Maybe he didn't want to calc. All right, it's really not looking good here. Blizzard, though. Can Blizzard wrap it up? No, he doesn't have Blizzard. I think he has Surf, Hypnosis, Submission, Amnesia on this. Oh! He does have an Ice-type move. All right. I mean, you got to get a Hyper Beam miss here to win, I think. or double Doug Trio crits. Unfortunate crit on that. That could have been big. That could have put Tauros in finishing range. That 2.5 times special, I think, would have put him in finishing range. But can he hit a crit right here? It's Doug Trio we're talking. He does, but it's not enough. He goes, oh, crit Blizzard. Oh, I hate that for him. Yeah, it looks like it's game, and that's really just how it goes when you're using these challenge teams. But you get what you want, a challenge. So maybe I can go back and analyze the team structure here and make some suggestions on what I would have done differently to optimize the bad team. Because if there's one claim to fame I do have, it is doing that. All right, so if I were running that team, this is the setup I would be working with. I would lead Raichu for sure. Because I'm always making the assumption that they're going to use the most common leads, being Alakazam or Starmie, sorry. And if it's a sleep lead, that's easily mitigated by sacrificing something. So for my sack, I would pick Dodrio, just because Executor is the most common sleeper. However, if it's a sleep lead, you really run a huge risk of Gengar or Jinx. So if that sleep misses, you might be in a worse situation than you already were. But from first glance, I would pick Dodrio as the sack, just because Dodrio is kind of a Kangaskhan with a weakness to Thunder and Ice. However, if there were a Gengar or a Jinx lead, you might want to think of sacking something different. If it were Jinx, I would be fine sacking Articuno, because we have another tanker here with Poliwrath. And if it were Gengar, I may even be comfortable putting in Doug Trio, just because the Hypnosis miss with the combination of Thunderbolt on anything else, it could crit you, and it could be kind of catastrophic. But overall, this team has a lot of attacking prowess. So if you lose one, you aren't hurting too bad for another. And we already noted that Poliwrath has... Oops, I meant to make this submission, but it's substitute. But let's just pretend it's submission. Poliwrath has submission, not substitute. So that is already automatically a... huge boon against the big three. Anyway, there are some sack options. Particularly with Dodrio, if it's an Executor and that Executor misses, you can put them in a situation. So they're going to be like, oh man, it could be a crit drill peck coming right at me. Boom, you fake him out with a body slam, and then you get a paralysis on something valuable like a Starmie or an Alakazam or something of the like. So let's talk a little bit more about our lead, Raichu. I would heavily recommend the Trick Raichu if you're using it in a lead fashion, because you're going to run into opposition like Executor, you're going to run into opposition like Rhydon, and Chansey as well. So if an opponent sees a Raichu, they're going to expect it to have Thunderbolt, right? So they may not even keep that Starmie in. They may not even keep that Lapras in. They're going to be expecting Thunderbolt. If it's an Alakazam, I would recommend just chipping at it with Seismic Toss and letting your Raichu go down so you can bring in a Body Slammer second and really put pressure on the Alakazam and put pressure on the Switch as well. Surf's an interesting one. So this, you can assume if you're going to trade Thunder Waves at the beginning that your Raichu is going to be paralyzed. And if your opponent has a Rhydon, they're going to think that's a good opportunity to bring it in right after you get paralyzed. So I keep Surf on Raichu as a Rhydon check. So there are certain situations where Raichu may just be okay enough, say against a Chansey, to afford to be able to throw out a Surf, right? And you may even be able to throw out a Surf on a lead Starmie because, like I said before, they're probably going to pull that Starmie out. And if they have a Rhydon and they're predicting Thunderbolt on you, then, you can put some serious damage on that Rhydon. Like put them within a fraction of a health bar of going down before you go down yourself. I have had success with this in the past. As for our follow-up strategies in the early game, since we are going to be scoring a paralysis on something, I wouldn't recommend putting in Poliwrath second or near second. I would say stick to your normal type attackers, Dodrio and Kangaskhan, whichever one isn't asleep, and then follow up on that. And try to get that paralyzed Pokemon killed before you bring in your Poliwrath so they don't block you. Unless their block is something you can do an Amnesia Fake on and then bring them down with the Poliwrath, opening you up to a Hypnosis. Just from looking at this team, I can confidently say that Starmie is going to be your worst enemy. Because Articuno can be so valuable if there isn't a Water-type Pokemon. So if there isn't a Starmie, a Cloyster, a Slowbro, a Lapras, any of the like, you want to make sure those Water-type threats are dispatched before you bring out Articuno. And Articuno can do really so much good. Let's take a look at the set that I recommend for this Articuno. Agility, Reflect, Blizzard, Hyper Beam. You could alternatively use Ice Beam instead of Hyper Beam just to double down on your PP. But since we're not working with too much on the good Pokemon front on this team, I would recommend Hyper Beam to finish off any special threats that you may get a free entry on. And in fact, I think Articuno has less utility than Poliwrath in this situation if you can't determine whether or not Water-type threats have been eliminated, because Poliwrath does have Submission and can do things. I'm sorry, I meant to say does have Amnesia and can do things against special threats if he's boosted enough. Not Submission, Amnesia. Kind of equally in the back if things go well. Like, you're kind of trying to feel out your opponent to figure out what threats have been dispatched and determine whether or not you use Dugtrio or Articuno first. But Dugtrio is just so weak, defensive-wise and special defensive-wise. But his crit potential is massive. He's faster than nearly everything barring Alakazam and Jolteon in the meta, and Jolteon's not going to do much to him anyway. So Dugtrio really traditionally is a finisher, right? So for my Dugtrio moveset, Earthquake, Rock Slide, Slash, and Sand Attack, I nixed Body Slam on Dugtrio because you're usually faster than everything anyway. And if you're using Dugtrio late in the game, things should be hindered enough that you shouldn't need the paralysis too badly. Sand Attack is if you need to pop it early. Maybe you can avert an explosion, or you can avert a sleep move if you end up using Dugtrio earlier. And maybe predict a switch, Sand Attack on something you couldn't damage too much, and then switch something else in to kind of cheese your opponent and buy yourself a little bit of time. But ultimately, that's kind of the movesets I would use on these guys. Did we cover Poliwrath's moveset? Right, we did. And Kangaskhan, pretty standard. For my fourth move, I picked Counter. Just because there's some switch into Hyper Beam utility there for kind of a counter swap insta-kill situation. Or maybe your opponent wants to use a mid-game Snorlax and you have assessed them as stupid, so you could risk a counter on turn one and two-shot that Snorlax with your counter. Or maybe even a mid-game pressure Tauros, you know. It's difficult to predict with accuracy what situation you're going to be in any given match. So I'm just trying to kind of play the field a little better with moveset diversity, and I think Counter on Kangaskhan could do unexpected things in the mid-game. Anyway, that is the beginning, middle, end analysis for this team, and this is how I would use this team if I were to use this team. And not to be outdone, Flame sent me this replay of his vengeance against Fuzzy Footrest, so let's go ahead and see how this goes. Is he using the same team? He is using the same team. Dodrio lead. Insta-kill on the Dodrio lead again? What the heck? Is this the same match? This can't be. You sent me this one. And keep in mind, he hasn't seen my analysis of his team yet, so we're just going to watch and see what happens. Okay. Executor switch again. Eats the Thunder Wave, going for the Thunderbolt. Misses the sleep powder. Huge. Going Kangaskhan. Ooh. I don't know. And I think I skipped a frame there. Yeah, going Kangaskhan here. Had a bit of a desync. Huge crit mega kick on that. I'm thinking of sacks right now. And I think Kangaskhan is more valuable than Dodrio. And assuming he has Thunderbolt on his Raichu, he'll want to keep it for Starmie. Raichu's pretty fast as well. But Kangaskhan is not weak to Ice or Thunder. So I think Dodrio would have been a better pick here. And it would have, if the Sleep Powder missed again, it would have pressured the Executor to switch out. And you could follow up with a Body Slam on Dodrio. Yeah, that's a two-shotter on our boy. Hyper Beam on the Raichu. Whoa! All right, Snorlax comes in, going for the Poliwrath. The Snorlax he cannot resist the stab move, even though it would be more logical to do Body Slam Earthquake. He cannot resist doing the Earthquake right away. He's using his matching skills. He says, ground good on electric. I click ground. Let's go. But that's huge for Flame because this Poliwrath does not get paralyzed on the switch end. So obviously he's looking for a Hypnosis here. The Starmie is absolutely fine, and we cannot have that. So, but he gets it on the Snorlax perfectly fine as well. All right, going back to Raichu. Great. Awesome. 100% what I would have done because he wants to bring that Starmie right back in. So we're going to cut him off with that Raichu. Going Chansey. Absolutely fine. Getting the paralysis on that Chansey. We already used our sleep and we have nothing to, go toe-to-toe with Chansey for a freeze. So paralysis is your next best thing. Predicts a Thunder Wave from the Chansey on the Raichu. And goes Dugtrio to block the Thunder Wave. Going Earthquake, looking for a big crit. Wants to eat that Ice Beam, no problem. Huge crit from the Chansey, though. How does this even work? It's opposite day. What is going on? Fat L on the Dugtrio here. What's he going to do? Poliwrath back in. Starmie still totally fine. Going for the Amnesia. Man, it's not looking good here because, you have no means to hinder the Starmie. You just have to rely on not getting crit. And he has okay, we got a bail button. We're getting bailed out here. Fuzzy Footrest taking Flame of Flareon's claim to fame right now with his own Flareon. The disrespect, I cannot believe it. I cannot believe this. Sand Attack, what's this moveset here? Amnesia, Ice Beam. Last one's got to be Submission. I wouldn't play around with Ice Beam. I would not. I would just go for Surf, right? And if you're not using Hypnosis, I would do Blizzard Surf. But Ice Beam, you're not... I don't see the advantage of Ice Beam over Blizzard on Poliwrath. And I think the Stab boosted Surf on Poliwrath is just a lot better as a general attack. So... And it is a shame you missed that Ice Beam, though. That was quite sad. Did he get a crit on you, too? Yeah, he did get a crit on you, too. Awesome. Just great. Going for the Raichu. Going right... Oh, crit Surf on the Raichu. Goes for Fire Blast. Okay. Going for the two-shot kill, not going for the Body Slam first. Hyper Beam. Are we going to Hyper Beam it? No, you're burned. You're burned! Oh! Crit fishing? Are we fishing for a crit now? Yeah, we got the crit. Wrong move, but we got the crit. But he's just going to keep doing this. Yeah. All right, who's our last? Let's play the memory game. I can't even remember. Dugtrio, Poliwrath, Raichu, Kangaskhan, Dodrio. Articuno. I don't know how you're going to pull it out, man. Okay. I don't know if this crits or not, but that's... Oh, yeah, Starmie's frozen, right? Bailed. Okay, yeah, you can pull it out. This is not voluntarily asleep. You're faster than this. The most I can do is quick attack you. And you can 1v1 Tauros with Articuno. So if this is a crit, you're in the money. It is not a crit. You are asleep. You are asleep. Oh, you wake up. Bail button number 2. We're getting bailed. Let's go. And he's... We got Mimic Articuno! What is going on here? This isn't randoms. Using a random moveset. What is this? Oh, I mean, I think rest would be better, but if you're doing a theme here, understandable. Like, if you're setting rules for yourself, I get it. I get it. You're saying to yourself, I gotta cheese the Mimic. I gotta cheese the Mimic. Also, that was huge Toro skill right there. And, I mean, you're in the money. If you can bring down this Chansey, and you will, because it's paralyzed with Hyper Beam, you're good. You're good, bro. Oh, my God. You're reeling it in with this team. Congratulations on your revenge. Love to see it. Anyway, if you guys enjoyed the video, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, and, yeah, typical YouTuber outro stuff. I'll see you guys in the next one.